One of the preferences that enters into the MBTI identification of type is a choice between a judgment attitude or a perception attitude. And this is a way of life or a method of how we are going to deal with the world around us. Everyone uses both judgment and perception, although we do have a preference towards one more than the other. So both cannot be used at the same time. And this is how we are going to evaluate the outer world, the world around us. And sometimes people are going to shift back and forth between a perceptive attitude versus a judging attitude. And it can happen very abruptly. Let's take the example of a parent. If you have children, you understand that there are times when they are very, very noisy and they're going to be excited and running, and a parent may have a very high tolerance for that kind of noise. However, when the decision comes that the noise is too much, that is when we have reached the point of a judgment. Now, there is also a time when we're going to use a perception and a time when we're going to use judgment. And there is an attitude that may be appropriate in different times and different situations. However, everybody is going to have one attitude which is more comfortable to them than another. They're going to feel more at home in it, and they're going to use it as much as possible as they deal with that outer world. For instance, when you're listening to this information, some people are going to listen to it with an open mind, and for the moment, they're very perceptive. However, when there are people who have immediately come to a conclusion that they agree or disagree, that is when judgment takes place. There's a fundamental opposition to these two attitudes. So in order to come to conclusions, people need to really use both senses. We start, however, and we realize that with that judging attitude, we have to shut off perception for a little while. We need to collect all the information. We need all the evidence. And when the time comes to make a decision, that's where judgment is. The perception, however, is when people are turning off the judgment side and they're still taking in information. They're creating more evidence. They're evaluating developments. And it's really too soon for them to really come to any kind of conclusion. And this is what is really the preference and the difference between the judging people who are going to order their lives and a perceptive people who tend to more go with the flow and just live with them. Now, both attitudes have merit, and either one are very satisfying in life, and if a person can temporarily switch from one attitude to the other when needed, that is going to be very evaluative and very positive for them in an overall situation.